The University of Missouri's College of Agriculture, Food and Natural Resources, or CAFNR, is a national leader in agricultural development. Through numerous programs of distinction, their research improves the health of people, animals, environments, and more, shaping the next generation of ag and natural resource leaders and making discoveries that impact not just our country, but the entire world. I'm Rachael Norden, and in this series of Thinking Out Loud, I sat down with the directors of these programs to shine a light on these unsung heroes of agriculture and bring their research to you. In this final episode of this series, I chat with Dr. Keri Jacobs, Executive Director of the Graduate Institute of Cooperative Leadership, or GICL, providing research-based executive and emerging leader education on the unique challenges and opportunities facing agricultural cooperatives.
GICL came about because some prominent leaders here in Missouri, and specifically at the University of Missouri, identified that there were these needs and kind of some unique challenges that agricultural cooperatives were facing in terms of the sophistication of the leadership, thinking specifically about talent within, employee talent within, and recognizing the need to level that up, whether it be from a governance perspective or just how employees understood the cooperative model and what it takes to lead a cooperative organization. They are quite different than organizations we might think of publicly traded or privately held organizations. And so they recognize that this need could be filled here at the University of Missouri. But my role is to bring together industry experts and best practices and what we understand from academic literature to try and support and help these organizations, cooperative organizations, from a governance standpoint and a leadership standpoint, hoping that all funnels through to strategy to make them successful and strong organizations as member-centric organizations.
It sounds like your role isn't necessarily to provide that, but to facilitate it, to bring those people. You recognize the people. You say, come join us, come teach our students, our participants, whatever the descriptor is that you guys use. And so that's what your role is identify the people who can bring that education in.
That's right. That was a really good framing for it. And I should clarify, so the title, Graduate Institute of Cooperative Leadership, most people, rightly so, because we're centered at a university, presume we have its focus on students, graduate level education. And the reality is most of our programs are intended to reach employees currently of cooperatives at senior levels or otherwise, and boards of directors of co-ops. So even though it's called Graduate Institute of Cooperative Leadership, it's not formally associated with any graduate program at the university. Graduate is intended to signify that this is a elevated, advanced training offering perspective on the cooperative business model. And so in my job, I lead this organization. I put together programs. You said it, I don't have to be the expert, but I can identify who the experts are in the country, what the relevant issues are to our agricultural cooperatives, whether they be from a governance perspective, the boardroom perspective, or whether they be from a leadership overall, how the board works, for example, with the CEO and their leadership team, and the challenges of navigating that. These are all agribusinesses, but they have this special feature in that they're a cooperative. And so I can identify that talent and create the programs.
Well, so you have 4 major programs I saw. You have the Summer Institute, which evolved over time from those founding programs, as we mentioned. The Board Chair CEO Conference that was established in 1982, the Bob and Linda Engel Workshop Series, and customized programs for agricultural cooperatives. So feel welcome to take your time with this one, but I wondered if you could describe for me, to some level, what each of those programs are.
I can. The first 2 that you mentioned, Graduate Institute of Cooperative Leadership has Summer Institute. And if you talk to someone who's been to Summer Institute, they'll say, I've been to GICL. So GICL started, it was synonymous with the Summer Institute program. And that's the one I described, where we bring about 60 to 70 employees who are identified future leaders, top-line leaders in these cooperative organizations to do a deep dive on the cooperative business model. What, in its research base, user-owned, so what producer-owned, producer-controlled, producer benefit means, the challenges that are introduced in this model. We do that, and we look at the cooperative life cycle model developed by Mike Cook, and we do deep dives on history and context and try to instill in employees an understanding of how these challenges, which are really ownership and control and structure challenges, enter into a cooperative organization and can be disruptive in sometimes negative ways, sometimes positive ways, and then how to manage through that, things they might do to manage through that. Very targeted at employees. It's once a year. It's every May. And it's the core. It was what GICL originally started as. The second program that was added was a board chair CEO program, and this is what Dr. Cook added during his tenure, I believe, 1982. That's offered every other year, and as the name suggests, we bring together CEOs and board chairpersons of agricultural cooperatives across the country. It's a limited group. We usually target a fairly small group to have really robust discussions. These are leaders that, despite how prominent their roles are, they're operating at the top levels, and they don't always have the opportunity to come together and discuss best practices, what's worked, what some of their key challenges are. And it's a really great opportunity, especially for board chairpersons, to learn from each other. Someone from Florida's Natural can learn from someone at Central Valley Ag in Nebraska, or MFA Incorporated here in Missouri, or MFA Oil. And so it's this unique opportunity to bring together cooperatives who might have very different businesses. One's a CPG company, one's an input supply, but they face common challenges because they are agribusinesses with this cooperative structure. The third one that you mentioned is an Ingle workshop, and that is GICL was gifted some funding from CoBank, which is part of the farm credit system, but is also the primary lender to agricultural cooperatives in this country. And it was a gift to give GICL the ability to have these one-off workshops, these small group workshops, again, to consider a very narrow topic. The one I mentioned where we brought together CPG companies to talk about governance of CPG and the challenges and the opportunities that exist because you have producers in the boardroom who are making decisions and aligned with this brand. How does that work? How can we make that better? How can we ensure that the cooperative ecosystem in this space remains very strong? And then these customized workshops fill in these scheduled events. I get a call from a cooperative that says, hey, we'd like to do some board training. Can you come work with us on that? And so that's these more specialized programs that still are very much they're directly aligned with what GICL should be doing, which is how do we make our producer-owned organizations stronger, more robust, effective organizations. And these specialized workshops are often with boards of directors, but they're sometimes with the employee or the associates or the leadership team as well. And sometimes they're both. It really just depends what the organization is needing. Oftentimes that's me facilitating or leading training, and sometimes it's me helping them identify what's the best outside person to bring in if it's not me.
Well, this one's more of a comment than a question. I saw you had your golden anniversary in 2022, GICL did. Just a year after you stepped in as executive director, that 2,500 alumni are serving across the globe. So I'm just curious as to what sort of legacy you're hoping that GICL will build in the next 50 years.
That is a fabulous question. It's sometimes hard to raise up and look 50 years out. I won't be here in 50 years. Someone will be, I hope. One would be that the GICL is still as strong as an organization as it is today, as it was when this was turned over from Dr. Cook, and then I began leading it. So I'm hoping to continue to strengthen it. I think what's going to be really important for GICL to continue to be an impactful organization as we look across the landscape, and we talked about just in some years, some generations, the dwindling focus on rural communities and the businesses that operate in rural communities. I recognize that it's going to take greater partnerships. So the way GICL operated in the past and its inception is probably not going to be what leads it to success in the future. And so what I just hope to do is position it so that it has a great reputation, that people know about it, that anytime they've had an experience with GICL, whether it be me, or whether it be a program that they've been to, employee or farmer, that we have the reputation that we are a go-to source for leading edge, state-of-the-art thinking around the cooperative business model, and that we have the relationships to partner with whomever is also in the space, whether it be, someone at the USDA inside one of their programs, or whether it be a state cooperative council, or for example, National Council of Farmer Cooperatives, which is like this apex organization that does lobbying and education of farmer co-ops in the country, or NCBA CLUSA, the National Cooperative Business Association, CLUSA, who also has co-ops as its members. So my role is to ensure that I think not only that we are viewed as a state-of-the-art place for leadership training, whether it be board leadership or management leadership, but that we've also maintained and grown those connections and that trust in this ecosystem of cooperatives across the country.
Well, I think that sounds like an excellent legacy goal to leave for the next 50 years. Thank you so much for talking with me today about it. I hope we can have you back in the future as well.
I would love that. Thanks for having me. It's been wonderful.
That was Dr. Keri Jacobs, Executive Director of the Graduate Institute of Cooperative Leadership. If you'd like to learn more about GICL or support their work, visit gicl.missouri.edu. I'm Rachael Norden, and you've been listening to Thinking Out Loud from KBIA 91.3 FM.